What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? Schleppen, Gilf, Timothy, Sock Puppet, Mylogify, Mind Fragments. How's everyone doing today? So, what's on the agenda? We're making some vital sounds, but also sounds in vital. Sorry, I had to. But I mean, as Mylogify says in the chat there, one shots are important. You could say that they are vital. Okay, no more silly puns. Hey, I'm a synthesizer. How's it going? There's a couple of parts here in the track which I feel like arrangement is there, leads, everything is there, pads, percussions, sounding good. But it needs a little bit more of that kind of like sound effecty, one-shotty, psychedelic, ear candy type stuff. So I've already got a couple of things here that I've marked down. One is this break. It's kind of empty. I had like vocals and stuff before, but I couldn't quite find a vocal part that fit in there. So I was like, you know what? It actually sounds kind of cool, just leaning more into the synth sounds. There was like a lonely instance of Serum sitting in the project there with a preset that I had like made and saved there called One Shots. So obviously, like sometime during a production session, I was like, you know what, I need some one shots here, and I didn't quite finish that thought. Yes, sidechain, like variety on hi-hats, especially if you're using like loops and stuff, or even on like if you have like a bunch of programmed hi-hats doing some kind of sidechain, but not traditional sidechain, you know, like what we would do on a bass with like duck or whatever, can be really good to kind of like help create like a groove on your percussion layers. Definitely a good call. I'm thinking some like FM type stuff, just to get things going. Hey, subs inline. How's it going? I think what we can do is maybe we just do a bunch of one shots, but like, I mean, like single hits, and then we render out the a MIDI as like a sample, because then we can, like, with each sample, we can do like a filter or different panning or something like that. So we focus more on like the sound now, and then we focus on like the arrangement of the sounds that we create. Oopsie. Wait, what key are we in? I feel like that's wrong. It should be like this. I don't understand. Okay, so these are 1/2. So we can actually use this function built in here, slice to drum machine, and then set it to slice at 1/2 notes, and then it should just chop all of that, put it into a drum machine. Yep, there we go. And just for good measure, I'm going to keep the MIDI like that, and we can then mute these. And now these should all be like tuned to the track, but then these are all just different, do you know what I mean? Like drum hits. Oh, it's like this. Then we can actually see the slices. Why is it not playing? Oh, I need to actually do that. Huh? And unsolo something. Why is there no sound? Oh, you know what? It's because this is a weird thing that sometimes happens. Is if something is soloed and you try bounce something, it doesn't work. And the drum machine thing requires a bounce in its step. So that whole slice thing doesn't work if you have anything else soloed in the project, which is kind of weird. Nope, I clicked something else there by mistake. Slice to drum machine. 1/2. Yep, cool. Okay, this should work now. We can actually go in and just confirm. Yeah, there, we actually have audio. This is good. good first step. Let's just put this here, because then we can just remove this just for sanity's sake. Okay. Okay, cool. We have audio. You know what? I should have actually normalized it first, but it's whatever. It's fine. We'll just put a tool here and boost the volume here. Sick. I think that happens too rapidly. Thoughts on MacBook? I'm not a big fan of the Mac ecosystem, to be honest. I think Mac's hardware is incredibly good. But I'm not a big fan of their software, to be honest with you. I just feel like having to buy new hardware just so that your stuff can stay up to date just doesn't sound like a great ecosystem to buy into, if you know what I mean. And I've been burnt too many times that way with Apple. I think we just go kind of more singular notes. Yeah, kind of more like that. Less of a sequence. Yeah, but I mean, we can all agree that Linux is actually the best. It's just that there's not enough software that works cohesively with it, if you know what I mean. So until then, we have other options. My Apple laptop actually has a dual boot of Windows and Linux on it. That's the world that we live in. You gotta have all three. It's a funny thing when you're working and you have this like pop up here. It's like, at what point do you like stop dodging it and actually 2, 3. You guys know what I'm talking about. With stuff like this, I like to bounce out at like a couple of different variations of it, specifically with like different delay times, because then you can kind of like reverse them and get like different types of like up ramps, you know, like slow and then upwards, you know. I'm checking what is going on in the chat. DAW wars, EQ wars, the usual. I think here we can actually use some of those FM hits to try and make some kind of like interesting kind of break here, I think. Normalizing is not that important, to be honest, because technically, like, we're working at 32 bits, so like there's no difference in the quality if you just gain it up before or after. For me, it's just like a workflow thing. I find it easier to just do it on the sample because then there's less turning all the channels up, and I feel like if everything is kind of like already at the similar level, it's easier to mix. Whereas if, for example, often what happens is synth channels are like really loud, and then you bounce it, and then the sample channel is soft, and then you load up a sample from a sample pack which is like really loud, and kind of like things just get out of control. So I find it just easier to work with the idea that to just keep everything like at close to zero before the fader. Do you know what I mean? But it's actually not that important. It doesn't change. It won't change your sound, to be honest. It won't make it any better or any worse. Just a workflow thing. Okay, yep, that's what we're doing. Infiltrator time. Yeah, it's, in my opinion, one of the best multi-effects processors within reason. So my two favorites are Snap Heap, or just the kilohertz ecosystem in general. So Snap Heap, Multipass, etc. But those are more for like constructive multi-effects stuff. So say for example, it's like I want to make a chain that has X, Y, Z, etc. Then I would usually do that with those. If it's like I just want to fuck shit up, for lack of a better explanation, I just want one of those things you just throw on there and it just Infiltrator is my favorite for that because the presets are so good. The choice of effects are specifically for that kind of stuff, you know. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Whereas, so it's more creative, whereas Snap Heap and Multipass are more like utilitarian in my workflow. How does it compare to? So you can do similar things in them, but the thing that Infiltrator does really well is this whole like sequencer thing. So let's actually build a patch. You know what I mean? Let me just bounce this real quick. This was actually part of this preset that I loaded is part of a expansion actually that they do, which I was part of. But the special thing about it is the fact that it has this sequencer here. So you can think of it as kind of similar to dBlue Glitch in that you can program those different steps with different effects and that kind of thing. But the effects, in my opinion, are just so much better. They just sound so good. Respect it to the creator of dBlue Machines. Passed away actually recently, unfortunately, but his products are now free. Anyway, so it's comparative, I guess, to that. Yeah, Happy Accident Machine, but also one thing that it does really well is these kind of loopy. Exactly, yeah. dBlue Glitch 2 is free now. Okay, so I've rendered this out. Let's just create a init preset here. Init preset. So here we have the different effects to choose from. We can say a loop. And then what I actually like to do is just load loop up on a bunch of the different like engines. So we have 10 engines to choose from. Obviously stuff like kilohertz and that is unlimited. So that's the plus side. But here this is kind of more built around this whole sequencing thing where yep. Where we can kind of like randomly switch between the different like loop machines or whatever it is. And then it also has this kind of like step-based thing built in here where let's choose one of these filters, like dual filter. And then here, let's just put the filter on all of the steps. Oopsie. On all of the steps like this. I recently got a new mouse, and the slight difference in the DPI, I think they're rated roughly the same, but like it's just so weird. Like after using the same mouse for so long, I'm noticing like my drags are slightly off. It's funny. Anyway, so okay, now the filter is going to be on for all of these steps. Now we can go into the individual filter and actually draw like some kind of modulation here. We can slow this down. We can randomize it if we want as well. Different types of random stuff. Trackball. I guess that would be the solution, right? Because it's always just going to be to the one side. What's going on there? Look at that. There's like a thing stuck. You like drag it and drop it there. Exactly where that no symbol is. Boom. It gets stuck. That's pretty funny. I'm streaming on my phone and TV and there's a delay with panning and it sounds so ethereal. Thank you. I'm glad. So let's drop it there instead. It's because it's trying to make a send effect out of it. That's kind of weird. Let's make a reverbed kick. Why don't we? I think also the synth, this might be a little touch too loud. Oh, you're saying your room is adding that panning and it sounds good and I should do something like, oh, that's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I also need a cup of tea. Having obvious English heritage, I will also be having a cup of tea. Okay, be right back. I will see you guys. I'll see you guys in 2 minutes. actually have some squelches here as well that I've made in Vital that could work as part of our one-shot. Oh, it's a preset of mine from Vital Essentials Volume something or other. Hey, Davey the Hugmonster, how's it going? Stephen E2E. Who else has joined us while I was away? Build Your Dreams. Negve. Ingo Garza. What's your opinion on adding more acoustic instruments to sidetrons and crossing genres? Doing jazz infused sidetrons lately, piano, viola, straight modal changes. I struggle with the modal change with sidetrons specifically because part of the trance element of it is that kind of like repetitive nature, that kind of like what puts you into a trance. And when you start to have these kind of like modal changes, it starts to sound too harmonically complex, and that can tend to take a lot away from the sort of psytrance element of it, if you know what I mean. So in terms of composition, I kind of struggle with mixing the genres like that, but the instruments I think is a good place to start. So like stuff like doing like a single hit with acoustic instruments obviously sounds really, really, really good. Here's an example. All of these kind of samples and stuff here, it's like flute sounds and stuff. Oh wait, maybe it's not in this particular track. But yeah, I've started recording a lot of flutes and stuff and using... Oh wait, Duduk, yeah, that is... It's a recording I did on playing the Duduk. And actually, like, my last sample pack is a bunch of that stuff. Duduks, flutes, stuff that I've recorded, like acoustic instruments that I think work really well. Actually, hearing this little percussion loop reminds me that I actually wanted to put something in the beginning. The physical modeling is supposed to add less of a digital flavor, I guess, more of a physical, like realistic kind of flavor. But I mean, they most of the time they work with modal synthesis, which can also sound digital. Oh yeah, this percussion loop reminded me that I actually did want to put some one shots and stuff here in the first couple of bars. Uh-oh. Naughty sample. Got some clicks. I wonder if it's all of them. Uh-oh. I wonder why it didn't automatically fade out. It's supposed to. Let's give it one sample of fade. Still a bit of a click. Okay, let's try like 10 samples. Much better. What about something like just a simple old like LFO thing with some effects on it? I think those can be really effective, like in the intros of stuff. I think especially, if we do some kind of thing on a saw wave, because that can maybe sound a little bit squelchy at times. Let's just see. Now if we set this to seconds. So we can even get like some sort of FM-y tones by just doing like a fast LFO, you know. Okay, that is pretty crazy though. You know what would be sick is if it like started at a note and then just like descended into lasers, like dee, brr, boo, 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 boo. Okay, not quite like that. That would sound very dubsteppy, but you know what I'm talking about. So if we assign another LFO to like the pitch, I think that goes up too high. We want to go down, I think, and then down like this. That's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I think we go lower though, because then it starts off at like a pitch. Oh, okay, that's pretty sick. And then we tune it to the note we're working in, F sharp plus 6. Then we can slow this down. Wait, let's actually assign this to a macro instead. Oh no. a macro, because then we can just do it like, okay, pretty sick. Does this go lower than minus 60? No. Oh, we can just tune it here. Okay, that's pretty sick. Yes, okay. And then we put a squelch. Yes. You folks are familiar what FM sounds like on a filter, right? When you do that pitch thing, but on the filter cutoff, right? You've heard that before, right? It's amazing. That is a Psytrance one-shot. That's what I'm saying. Oh, yes. And then I guess like just different macro settings will give us the different speed wobble. Very musical. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but like uh. Yeah, Cube is cool. Cube is cool. I've had a lot of fun with Cube. It's quite different to the sampler that I recently reviewed though. I think Zenline, you're thinking of Pam. Pam is more like a breaksy, choppy kind of sampler. Whereas Cube is awesome for pads, atmospheres, taking bunch of like sampled material, putting them together, blending them that way to create like pads and stuff. I guess we probably want like the pitch to lower, like the speed of the wobble as the sound kind of releases. The wobble should maybe slow down a bit, make it sound a bit more realistic, I think. I think maybe hey Drippy Technology, how's it going? I think maybe we should set up another macro. Oh, this is that annoying thing where you gotta hold Alt. Another macro here for this filter, so that we can do unique ones every time. Macro 2, filter. And then here, macro 2. Sick. Maybe different reverbs on each one as well. you know what would be so sick on this actually is modulated delays. Set this to comp mode, so then this can just go 100% and not feedback. Set this like this. Oh wait, we want to set this here to pitch mode as well. There it is. That is exactly it. Oh, I'm playing with fire here. This is no no limiter. Whoops. That was close. I can hear it starting to feedback now. Yeah, doing that stuff, no limiter, and like outside of the group where there's any kind of like any protection happening, don't do that. Yeah, thankfully this comp mode does generally keep it in place. But yeah, it can get dangerous playing with feedback. about the new free Sans Amp and some Obsidian Circuits emulation? No, I'll have a look at those. I'll look into it. Yeah, so like I agree. It depends like how you want to use the sound. So for me, it usually the sidechain would be the last thing on the channel. So that would include the tails of reverbs and that kind of thing before it. But sometimes you don't want that effect. So for example, if it's like creative reverbs, like if you're trying to create a pad or atmosphere sound, I would then use it. But if you're using the reverb more in a mixing context, I probably wouldn't, just like a room reverb sound, because that's gonna, do you know what I mean? The sidechain will obviously affect the sound of that. It's not going to sound as realistic or whatever the case is, lately I've been trying to use crash cymbals like as sparingly as possible. I find in longer tracks, the more you hear a crash, the more it signifies like, okay, a bar is started. And so it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. And then eventually it's like, wait, the same bar is looping so many times. But if you put the crash just like once and then 100 bars later, another time, people don't count. And so it feels like things are more spaced out and more airy. I don't know how to explain it. But it's just a weird sort of, I guess, subconscious thing that I find. When arranging tracks, the less stuff like that, you know, crashes and things that signify like the one, like the one of the beat, I tend to try use as sparingly as possible. They are here. Here's one. Here's another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four crashes in the whole track, and then one right at the beginning. Actually, I was going to remove it because it sounds a bit off with the crash and the reverb kick. I like to use these kinds of things. It's like a snare or some other kind of thing with a reverb, so it's kind of crash-ish, but it's not. So like once every time something big changes in the track. So it's like the first bunch of bars, then there's a crash here, and then a crash here on the next bunch of bars. The drop there actually isn't a crash, because it kind of gives it a little bit more impact. Yeah, a little quieter, I guess. I think that's where I'm going to call it for today. Yes. I think that's where I'm going to call it for today. There's something that I really want to show you guys, but I think it's going to have to wait just because. It's gonna have to wait just because. I'm keeping my mouth zipped for now. Let me think about something real quick. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember. Okay, just a little sneak reveal. Okay, little sneak reveal. Do you remember that video I made a little while ago with the Spangle thing? Oh, but now the pitch bend doesn't work in Vital at the moment. Something happened. I don't know what's... Maybe we've got to use the non-clap version. I've got to go into my settings real quick here. Where is the thing that shows overrides Vital? You know where you can choose like whether you wanted VST? Is it here? Oh, it's here. All formats, all plugins, that's the one. I think it's something to do with the clap version of Vital where the pitch bend is broken at the moment. Oh gosh, and now is the VST3 version just not even going to load? What is going on? And the VST2 version, also not. I wonder. Okay, so that has broken something. The clap is no longer even working. Preferred format. I broke something. Maybe I've got to like exit if switching this, got to like close the project and get back in or something. Yeah, I've broken Bitwig. I don't know what's going on here. Do I want to save a project? Yes. Huh. Let me just see if I can open it again and then see what happens. Yeah, it's something to do with the sandbox settings. No, I'm just going to start in a blank project here because I just want to show you guys something real quick. Okay, vital. Okay, that works. Pitch bend. It's not working. Oh, okay, it is working. Pitch bend is working. Do you guys remember that video I made a little while ago with that spangle sound? And it like quantized the pitch bend. Do you guys remember that setup? I did a video on it, like how to make spangle type sounds. You guys remember that, right? So, I was like, imagine being able to do this with like any plugin, right? And then it got me thinking like we should be able to do this with Bitwig's grid, right? Like change the pitch and stuff. Funny enough, it's not possible with the grid. And that led me down a whole other rabbit hole back to the simplest solution. So let me just disable all of this pitch bend stuff working here. Okay, so now we are back to traditional pitch bend. I want to make sure I'm getting the correct thing here. Okay. So I made a plugin. It's not finished yet. It's still a couple of bugs. I'm still ironing out a bunch of kinks. But the idea is to basically convert pitch bend information into MIDI notes. So you can basically take that idea where you're jamming the pitch bend and it's making lead sounds and basically just use that to send it to any synth. So like Serum, Phase Plant, whatever the case is. There's a couple of different modes that it works in. My most favorite is trigger new note because it doesn't matter what MIDI settings you have in the plugin. It just creates a brand new note every time. Does that make sense? So let's choose a scale to work in. Hold harmonic minor. Okay, and so we can transpose it if we want to like G, for example. And so now that whole idea of like jamming the pitch works without having to quantize it here. So it's just straight up in vital. Pretty sick. And there's obviously like pitch bend range, so we can go multiple octaves. And then also like different velocities. So obviously in trigger new note mode, every new MIDI note is supposed to have like some kind of velocity. Traditionally, it's just gonna pass through the velocity that we hit the note, right? But then I've added a couple of extra modes. One is random, and so every time it creates a new note, it generates a random velocity value. So we could set this to like maybe the filter as well, so velocity to filter. Maybe that's a bit much. And then every note it'll have a unique value for that, basically. So you can just hold a note, wobble the pitch bend, jam out leads. Pretty cool. Peanut butter jelly. It's pitch bend jammer. Yeah, so that's something I've been working on. It will be free. I will release it for free. I can't tell you when though, so it's a little bit of work that needs to be done with it. What's most likely going to happen is I'll release it as like a closed beta to my Patreon, and then release it for free to the public after that. Sadly, it is Windows only at this moment in time. It will be Windows and perhaps Linux only, just because I don't have access to an up-to-date Mac machine to be able to build the plugin. But I'm thinking of ways around it. There will always be a way. But for now, it'll just be Windows only. Sound amazing as a talkbox. Well, the cool thing is we can load up a talkbox if we want. You know what I mean? We can just load up any plugin, it'll work. So Serum. It's the weird thing is it's a MIDI plugin, but it acts as a plugin. So sometimes with Ableton, you might have to like load it on a separate channel, if you know what I mean, to do that whole routing. But anyway, Serum. Let's just load up a preset. So one of the most common questions I got on that actual original video is like, how do you do this in Serum? How do you do this in Serum? And it was like, you can't actually. Unfortunately, you can't. I'm way overthinking this. Just pick a sound and go. Okay, so sometimes if there is attacks and stuff, it might be a bit much. But it can sometimes sound pretty cool. You know, it's because every note is being generated, so like the attack is triggering quite rapidly. In those instances, maybe it's the velocity. Let's actually just see. Okay, no, the attack is triggering quite rapidly. So in those instances, perhaps pitch bend mode will work the best. And that uses traditional MIDI pitch bend. Do you know what I mean? And so it means that you would have to have, the synth would have to match. So here we have 2 minus 2. This would have to be plus minus 24, plus minus 12, whatever setting you have. Let's go 24, 24. Now it's not working for some reason. Something to do with Serum not picking up the correct Huh. Anyway, like I said, few kinks to still iron out. Wait, is it something here that we have to assign? Huh, I don't know. Anyway. Turns into a peanut butter jelly plugin. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna show you guys. Pretty cool. So that's the beginning of the next arc. The beginning of the next arc. And yeah, I'll release that for free. I mean, I guess the idea is that hopefully people will be like, oh, this is so cool, I use it every day. Let me just throw you some bones, you know what I mean? That's why we do what we do. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end it. I've actually just realized I've closed the project, so now I need to, the one that we were working on, so I need to just quickly bring that back up again. Can you teach me to make Without You, sung by David Guetta, main hook inside Vital? I've never even heard that song, bro, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'll look into it, but I can't promise you I'm gonna make that video, to be honest. Okay. Bad serum, bad. It's probably some kind of setup thing that I'm just forgetting to do at the moment. Dog walking time. I usually walk the dogs first in the morning, so like I'll wake up at the crack of dawn and then go out with the dogs. I feel like it starts the day on a nice momentum, if you know what I mean. Anyway, it's dinner time though. I'm gonna make some food. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and look out for PBJ, Pitch Bend Jammer, coming soon.